block it so that people can express themselves. Nobody in this day and age should live like that. Everybody has a right to live their life normally. I guess this is having a huge, huge impact on the psychology of people there. I am affected being in a free country where I can express myself. I cannot imagine what those guys are going through. People who come back from there have only horror stories to say because no communication, no bit of information is coming out of Kashmir unless and until it is scrutinized by Government of India. There are Indian activists who have gone on ground and reported how bad the situation is there. They are not allowed to relay it. Everybody has to do their part. I'm not going to take that much of your time. I'm just going to end this with the wise words of Dr. Martin Luther King, who says, injustice everywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And while I was coming here, I got a chance to read this poem about freedom. It's titled Freedom, and it's by Langston Hughes. I felt that this is something that I came across, and I should read it to you here. As just a favor for people back home, I felt this is probably what they want to tell us right now. So I'm going to read Langston Hughes' Freedom. It says, freedom will come today. This year, freedom will not come today. This year, not ever. Through compromise and fear. I have as much right as the other fellow has to stand on my 2 feet and own the land. I tire so of hearing people say, let things take their course. Tomorrow is another day. I do not need my freedom when I am dead. I cannot live on tomorrow's bread. Freedom is a strong seed, planted in a great need. I live here too. I want my freedom just as you.
Thank you, Sister Samantha. There are heart-wrenching stories. If you look at the media, international media especially, there are a lot of stories and a lot of media. Sometimes when you read those stories, you feel like you're in tears. There are so many bad stories after August 5th. At this point, I would like to ask Sister Asmat Ashari. She's shared some historical perspective of Kashmir. It started in 1947, maybe before that. So Sister Asmat Ashari, she lives in Howard County, and here she is. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. We are grateful for the presence here to listen to our story. I think Sumaira has already told you about the situation in Kashmir, what she has been through, and what other families are going through. I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Asmat Ashari. My husband, Dr. Ashari, and I came here in 1976, and he practiced OBGYN with a Columbia Medical Plan for 30 years. And now we have also retired in Howard County. I subbed in the Howard County Public Schools, and we are very much an integral part of this community. I just want to ask you a question. When you say Kashmir, from the audience, I want to know, what do you see? Sorry? Mountains, beauty, nature, valleys, everything about that is true. Unfortunately, this has become the most beautiful and the biggest jail for its residents.
August 5th was a black day for us as Kashmiris. But before that, they have asked me to talk about a little bit about the history, and I don't want to bore you with a lot of history. I have to give you history from 1947 in 5 minutes. So this was, people say that this was the leftover of the partition of India and Pakistan. But Kashmiri struggle against the Maharaja, the Hindu Dogra of Kashmir, predates 1947. It was in 1931 that a few young men who were Kashmiris, who were educated outside, they came home to no jobs, no employment, no future, because it was the Maharaja's rule, and there was a preference for a certain minority. And this was a majority Muslim population who were literally like the slaves of the Maharaja. So this was the movement that started before 1947 against the British. And Kashmir itself was not part of the British Empire. So these kingdoms, I think there were about 20, they had to decide whether they wanted to go with Pakistan or they wanted to go with India. And since the partition was based on religion, there was an 80 to 90% population of Muslims in Kashmir. So it would automatically go to Pakistan. But a self-styled leader, Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah, who was picked up by the central government of India, became the leader of Kashmir. And you have to remember that at that time, Kashmiris were uneducated. So they took him to be a leader. They felt that he was sincere. And maybe in his own way, he may have thought it was sincere. He chose to be a part of India, but on certain conditions. And the conditions were Article 370 and 35A. It's like going into a marriage with a memorandum of understanding. So that is what Article 370 and 35A were, which were now abrogated by the Modi government. You also have to know that this Article 370 has been eroded for the last 70 years. It was only in name now, but even that name was a sense of comfort for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And now that that is gone, there is a certain panic. And why is there a panic? Now, it was a part of the Indian Constitution, and the Indian Constitution may have a right to abrogate it, but only with an approval from the Legislative Assembly of Kashmir. The Legislative Assembly was disbanded, people were locked up, there was curfew, and those days there is a yatra, a Hindu yatra that takes place in Kashmir every year, which is facilitated by the Kashmiri Muslims. That was going on, which is a very, very important yatra for Hindus, and they are taken care of very well. There was an announcement by India that they have to leave, and all the tourists, everyone, there are laborers who come from outside, they have to leave. So that created panic amongst the people. And now Mr. Modi tells us that all this is so good for Kashmir. Mr. Modi, if it was so good, how come we are not dancing on the streets? How come the shops have been closed for the last 3 months? And how come people are not allowed to come on the streets even to show their disgust at what has happened? Even silent protest is not allowed. Peaceful protest is not allowed. There was a peaceful protest by a number of women who were all intellectuals, who were all academicians, and they were taken in, they were put in jail, and they were only set free if they signed a document saying that they will never talk about it again. So this is the situation. But what makes it worse is I want to take you back to why it is so urgent for us to give it some thought and be active about it and do something about it. It is the background of what is happening in the rest of India. Who is ruling? What is the ruling party? the BJP, it's like a white supremacist party. It is RSS. It looks at every minority and every other person who is not one of them as the other. There is Assam, where 2 million people, mostly Muslims, will be stateless because of their policies. So what makes it urgent is that if there is no fact-finding mission going in, there are no newspapers coming out of Kashmir, there is a lockdown on the internet, what is going on? There is an army of 800,000 troops, and they added more troops on August 5th, and they themselves say that there are 250 militants. Now we know that we went to Iraq with 150,000 or less people, but what are 800,000 troops doing in Kashmir? So you know that women and children are scared. Young people are picked up because they have a law called AFSA, which has been there for 3 decades, and they can pick up anyone, and they don't have to give a reason. And they will not be, I'm being told that I have to stop it, but I just want to tell you that the reason this is very urgent